Hello ChessMood family, GM Avetik here is with you, and as today is White Monday, I'm going to analyze your games. So I will start with the game that Ahmed has sent me. He's playing with black. The game is played in Lee chess. Let's go, it's blitz game. Ahmed is going to fill their defense. Bishop b5 check, and here is the first moment. Ahmed is choosing to play c6 between the move knight bd7 and bishop d7. I would prefer much more bishop d7 move. Why? Because when you have space disadvantage and in Philidor opening because of this e4 pawn against d6, white has space advantage. How much pieces we change, it's usually in basically it's our favor. So about this topic, how to play when you have space disadvantage and how to play when you have space advantage, I will create a different video course. But for now, just remember, when you have space disadvantage, changing some pieces, it's in your favor. So by that reason, I would prefer bishop d7 move. However, c6 is also fine. But one thing I don't like here, bishop b5 check is very strange move. So with playing bishop d7 or knight bd7, yeah, let's say knight bd7, and then we go to our plan. What is going to do with bishop on b5? Somebody should go back to d3 or e2. But with playing c6 move, we give some reason for him why he played bishop b5, because after c6 move, our d6 pawn gonna be weak. So, because of these two factors, and that one that I mentioned, and this bishop d7 move, we will change a few pieces, I would prefer this move. But let's go, c6, bishop d3. Now bishop e7 is playing Ahmed. I would prefer much more g6 move. Why? Because after g6, bishop g7, castle, rook e8, your pieces would be where they should be. Bishop would be strong on g7, rook on h8 would come to e8, and it will be much better than you are playing. And what you have played, you will see that anyway, sooner or less, you should go back to this plan. So bishop e7, castle. Now b5 is played. It's too early, Ahmed. It would be much better for you to start with castle move. And anyway, it's strange, but after castle, your next move should be something like, well, knight bd7. Knight bd7 is not good because of knight f5 move, and you will lose the bishop on e7 and give your opponent 2 bishop advantage. So here your next move probably should be rook e8, bishop f8, and then maybe knight bd7. But anyway, all the time knight f5 move will hang here, so you should play sooner or less this g6 move. So because of that, I would prefer here immediately g6 move. And also when you play b5, it's too early. With b5 move you create some weaknesses here. First this c6 pawn gonna be weak, and also b5 pawn, very often he may be weak. Let's say he plays some move like c4. Now it's hard to do. It's if you take bishop c4, now you have 2 weak pawns here. So with b5 move you give opponent all the time attempt something like a4 and c4. So I would prefer much more here castle move immediately. Let's go, b5, rook e1 is played, castle, bishop f4, bishop b7, knight d2, knight bd7. Well, with knight bd7 move, you give your opponent to play knight f5 move. After which the bishop e7 is hanging, also this d6 pawn is hanging and getting some problems. So much better, instead of knight bd7, would be g6 move, and then go to my mentioned plan, rook e8, bishop f8. Knight bd7 is played, c3, so as I said, he could play knight f5 move, and here 2 is hanging. c3 is played, a6, again something, or knight f5 he can come. Knight f1, knight e5 is played, again better would be g6, rook e8, bishop f8. Knight f1, knight e5, bishop c2, rook e8, knight g3, and here the last moment when you are losing the chance to play g6 move. You played your h6, Ahmed, but much better it would be some move like g6 or bishop f8, let's say, then g6. With g6 move, first of all, you are almost killing this knight on g3. This knight on f5, he will stand very strong here and will annoy you all the time, because he will from f5 attack your d6 pawn, also will attack your king. So with putting your pawn on g6, knight on g3 will feel him not as good as before. And also with this, bishop will go to g7 and you will have comfortably play. Later your two bishops, bishop from g7 and another bishop from b7, they will be ready to fight for the center, and somewhere you may have even play c5 and put pressure on this e4 pawn. So instead of g6, Ahmed, you played h6, but this is giving some problems for you. The game was played knight d5, bishop f8, there was done move like b3, king h7. Now you want to play g6 and to push this knight on f5 that is making a big headache for you. But now in the game he played h3. Let's assume instead of h3 he played queen d2. Now when he played queen d2, any more g6 move is impossible because h6 pawn is hanging. But from another part, if you don't do this g6 move, knight f5 is very strong here. He is annoying you, he is attacking your king, he is attacking your d6 pawn. Next move, rook a d1 is coming, and there are some problems for you. Comparing to this, what we could get, let's come back and again look this position, when you could play here bishop f8 and next move g6, bishop g7, totally utilizing this knight on g3 and also knight on d4. So this is an important moment, one of the important moments of the game, that h6 usually all the time when knight can come on f5, h6 pawn is feeling him very bad, because after knight is on f5 we cannot play any more g6, because whenever we play g6 this h6 pawn is hanging. So the same situation after knight is f5, it would be much better if our pawn was on h7, so we could play here bishop f8 than g6. So h6 pawn is not staying where he should be, it's much better h7 and g6 like that. So here is the thing, it would be better match bishop f8, g6. Let's continue the game. h6, knight f5, bishop f8, b3, king h7. Well, he's playing h3 instead of queen d2, strong move after which you cannot play g6 move anymore. So h3 is played, and g6, knight d4, c5, it's fine. Now your bishop on b7 opened, it's very good for you. Knight f3, queen f3. And here is the next important moment of the game. Well, what has happened? First we can see that after knight f3, queen f3, we have some problem here on d6. This is our first problem, but as a compensation of this weakness we have very strong bishop on b7, and we can push on and put pressure on this e4 pawn on opponent's e4 pawn. Here also knight on f6 is putting pressure, rook on e8 is putting pressure. So in this position we should have tried to find some plan for us. In the game what you played king g7, rook a d1, queen b6. This moves is done without plan. So here I was thinking, okay, it's time to find a plan for you, what would be good for us. And the first move that came to my mind is that it would be, with this move that I will show you now, we would kill two rabbits. Rook e6 move. First of all, what has happened? We protected this d6 pawn, our weaknesses. So after moves like rook a d1, rook a6 is staying where it's very good there. He is protecting the d6 pawn. From other part, rook on e6 going to put pressure on this e4 pawn after queen e7 move. Now let's say white to some move, and next move rook a8 is coming. So e4 pawn is already beginning to feel him not so good. Your next moves can be even something like bishop c6, queen b7. Well, this is plan. So with this plan we could put pressure on e4 pawn, and also with doing rook e6 move we protected our d6 pawn, which would be much better than the plan you played rook king g7, queen b6 and somewhere rook a d8. This is passive plan. With this plan we are just protecting the d6 pawn. However, with the plan with rook e6 it would be much better for us, because with this we would protect d6 pawn as I mentioned, and also put pressure on our opponent pawn on e4. So this moment is also critical moment of the game, is that we should now find a plan. So rook e6 and next moves queen e7, rook a8, bishop c6, queen b7. This is the plan that it would be fine for you, and in this position here you would have a very good and comfortable game. So rook e6 is my recommendation. The moves you do: king g7, rook a d1, queen b6. This is not just passive plan, queen b6, rook a d8, but with this queen b6 you give also a tactic for your opponent. As you can see, after move queen b6, knight on f6 going to be unprotected, so he can do a small sacrifice here, small tactic, bishop h6 move. And it's very bad for you now, because after king h6, queen f6, you didn't just lose a pawn. Now it's queen h8 checkmate is coming. Okay, not checkmate, but after a few moves it will be checkmate. For this, bishop g7 is impossible, queen h4 checkmate. Also, like knight f5 was possible in checkmate in 2 moves. So after bishop h6, queen h6, king queen f6, the only way to protect is queen h8 checkmate, king h7 move. However, after king h7, queen f7 he took, and like queen f7, bishop g7, also he can play e5. Now g6 is hanging, and immediately we suddenly lost the game, instead of playing here rook e6 and going to long game. So queen b6 move is not just bad because of taking a passive route, but also giving opponents this tactic, bishop h6. Let's go. Queen d3, rook a8 is played, queen d2, king h7, queen c1, a5 you played again. A5 not a move with plan. Much better here would be rook e6 than rook e8, and again put pressure here on e4 pawn. So he's played a5, h4, rook e6, h5. And now the last big mistake, decisive mistake, is playing g5. Because after g5 this bishop on c2, which was not good before, now he becomes a monster after e5 move somewhere. After h5 it much better would be bishop g7 move, staying here, or rook d8 move, because now the taking our king become weaker than before, but not as much as after g5. So g5, he could also play e5 move, which was also winning for white. Instead of that, your opponent did a sacrifice. It's fine, it's good sacrifice, bishop g5, hg5. Now again e5 would be fine for him, and he would have big problems here. So he played queen g5, knight d7. Yeah, this is his last mistake. King h8 you should play. King h8, avoiding this diagonal. And then after knight f5, knight rook d8, and it seems to me that its position is not lost now. You would lose if you took here instead of queen g5, if we played here e5 move. So as you say, queen g5, knight d7, e5 he played, king h8. Now it's very bad for you, because for just a piece he has very strong game. Much better for him here was queen f5, rook h6, queen f7. So e6, rook f6, knight f5. Now he's lost the position. So you played rook a8, rook e3 he played with rook g3. Yeah, now it's already too late to give a good advice. So let's go back at the 2 or 3 critical moments. I will go back on them fast. Here, first things here, I would prefer here bishop d7 move, changing a bishop. Well, after c6, bishop d3, almost everywhere here much better for you when the pawn is on c6 already, to go with g6 plan, because after g6, bishop g7, castle, you give your rook this rook e8, where he will stay very good. b5 it's too early, much better would be castle, and then go to knight bd7, rook e8, bishop f8. b5 is played, rook e1, and then all the time you should be careful with this knight f5 move. So you should play here anywhere g6, rook e8, bishop f8 plan at first, and then after only go to knight bd7. Knight bd7, and here again g6 you should play, because after h6, knight f5 he is staying here very good, and after king h7 he would play just queen d2, rook a d1, and you can never solve the problem with this knight on f5 because of the pawn on h6. All the time you cannot play g6 because h6 pawn is just a free pawn. Well, h3, and the last moment of the game here, always you should such positions find a plan, and to find a plan as aggressive as possible. Well, if you cannot find the aggressive plan and the only way is to go to some passive defense to protect here your weaknesses, it's okay. But when you can do something better to protect the d6 pawn and also go to put pressure on your opponent position, try to find aggressive ways. So here rook e6 would be excellent solving problem, queen e7, and then go to rook e8, bishop c6, queen b7. With this plan it will be much better for you. Here is the thing, with this finding plans and what was the decisive mistakes, with such a games analysis, your abilities, your skills they will become better and better. So to the question how to improve these skills, you are in the right way, looking some games and analyzing such a games with strong players. This will help you a lot to grow your skills. So if you have any more question, Ahmed or our ChessMood family, just write me in the comments or in our closed group in ChessMood. So ciao, see you in the next videos.